In April 2015, Time magazine boldly proclaimed the streaming war is over. Netflix has won. Yet 4 years later, in January 2020, Vice declared streaming wars are just heating up. Now, just 3 years after that, it seems the war has swung completely in the opposite direction, with piracy rising again to levels not seen since before the advent of Netflix. And that's saying something considering piracy was huge in the early 2000s. So what happened? Why did the entire industry suddenly turn against their own product? And how is it that piracy is once again exploding? Well, you might be surprised to hear the answer. It starts with the promises that were broken. In late 2019, just before the pandemic and Netflix's enormous expansion, things were great. Netflix was $8.99 a month. Everything was there. No torrent, no sketchy websites, no malware. Just click and watch. But those days are gone. Streaming is now more expensive than cable. They've cracked down on password sharing. They're actively deleting art and killing shows. And customers are fed up. Today, a Netflix subscription that cost $8.99 in 2019 now costs $15.49. Disney Plus saw a 129% increase in 5 years from £6.99 to £15.99. HBO Max's ultimate plan is now £20.99 a month. Before the pandemic, 30% of Americans had 5 or more subscriptions. Now it's 60%. To get everything your family wants, you need 6 different subscriptions, according to CNBC, pushing the monthly bill to $100 before you've watched a single episode. Families are sitting at their kitchen table, calculator out, trying to figure out how to afford entertainment for their kids. And it's no wonder piracy is booming. In fact, the streaming industry stands to lose an estimated $13 billion by 2027. That is the most expensive business mistake in entertainment history, more than the entire GDP of Morocco and enough money to fund NASA for 4 years. Investors are starting to panic. Disney shares dropped after subscriber losses, and Warner Brothers Discovery became a cautionary tale of corporate mismanagement. Morgan Stanley downgraded their stock, and investors lost a staggering 80% of their money. That's why the streaming industry is turning against itself, because they're putting profit before customers. In 2015, Disney CEO Bob Iger told investors, "We would love to have the margins that Netflix has." And ever since, the only thing they've cared about is profit. They've cut jobs, increased prices, merged companies, and destroyed shows to save money. For example, in 2018, Netflix announced it would spend $13 billion on new shows and movies in 2019 alone, which was a lot. But the next year, they increased their budget to an astonishing $15 billion. And guess what? Revenue jumped from $15.8 billion in 2019 to $30 billion in 2021. The key takeaway here is that increasing spending on content has been directly linked to soaring profits, meaning cutting content is likely to do the exact opposite. And that brings us to the third reason why piracy is exploding: the content apocalypse. In November 2018, HBO made the unthinkable move of deleting Westworld from their own platform to avoid paying royalties to Sony. The Wall Street Journal reported this was a first. The first time a premium service acknowledged that it was deleting content to avoid paying royalties. Soon, every streaming service followed suit. Disney, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Paramount Plus. They all started deleting shows and movies to save money. HBO would rather erase their own masterpiece than pay the people who created it. And the result has been nothing short of disastrous. In February 2025, HBO Max removed 80 shows in a single day, gutting watch lists and erasing Cartoon Network classics that defined childhoods. It's little wonder piracy is booming. Modern piracy sites offer a Netflix-like interface, instant streaming, no ads, and never remove content. They boast clean minimalist designs, sleek search bars, movie posters, and perfect grids. User ratings and reviews, according to Business Insider. They have no geographic restrictions. Every show from every country is available everywhere, including the childhood cartoon HBO deleted and the canceled series Netflix removed. Not to mention they don't charge for the privilege. You can watch everything for free. It's no wonder Gen Z led the charge. Half of all young people canceled at least one streaming service in the past 6 months. They are rebelling against ridiculous price increases, restrictions on sharing, and the destruction of content. Gen Z and millennials are ditching streaming for piracy. They're not abandoning streaming entirely, but they are using both systems, legal and illegal, to get what they want. In fact, 24% of all internet traffic in North America, Europe, and Asia Pacific goes to piracy, according to OpenGate. Piracy is huge in Sweden. 25% of the entire population pirates content. And 80% of modern piracy is streaming-based, not downloads, meaning people are abandoning legal streaming for illegal streaming. So, what does this mean? If everyone is abandoning streaming, surely it's the end of the industry. Well, not necessarily. For many years, the big 5 companies dominated the market: Netflix, Disney, Comcast, Warner Media, and Amazon. But today, there are thousands of services: Peacock, Paramount Plus, Hulu, and Apple TV, and hundreds of others. All these new companies need your attention, and they're willing to do anything to get it. Disney recently launched a $8 a month ad-supported tier, Disney Plus Basic. You get everything for cheaper, except now you have to sit through ads. Other services are launching free tiers too, like Netflix and Prime Video. And they're not giving up their content. Companies are now motivated to keep you on board and convince you to stay. But it's too late. The streaming war is over. The customers won. And their weapon of choice was the very piracy that streaming was supposed to eliminate forever. Companies spent billions of dollars lobbying governments around the world to crack down on illegal downloads, all while trampling over their own customers. They went to war with pirates, all while ignoring their own business. One of the best examples of this is the password-sharing crackdown. Back in 2017, Netflix tweeted love is sharing a password. Behind the scenes, though, Netflix executives were already plotting to destroy it. Internal documents revealed in 2022, Netflix had lost 1 million subscribers in a single quarter, and they blamed password sharing. Suddenly, sharing a password wasn't love, it was theft. They sent out emails warning users they would lose access unless they paid extra. Some services charged an extra $3, some charged $8. And some, like Netflix, charged an extra $6.99 per month. Even family members were charged. A grandmother watching Netflix at her daughter's house during chemo treatments was charged $8 extra. Disney followed suit shortly after. In October 2023, they started policing families like suspicious bank transactions. But customers weren't having it. You wouldn't trust me to share my Wi-Fi password with someone I'm related to. You don't deserve my subscription, wrote one user on Twitter. Another said, I've got a few family members who use my accounts. Maybe I'll get them their own accounts. Or maybe I'll just pirate. And that was it. It was over. Trust was shattered, and there was no going back. That's why piracy is exploding. Customers are fed up with being nickel and dimed to death. They've had enough of the constant price increases, the restrictions, and the bad faith of it all. And so they're looking elsewhere. And where better to go than to a place where you can watch everything for free, legally and conveniently. So what happens now? Well, streaming companies are running out of ideas. Their stock is plummeting, and they don't know how to stop the bleeding. The industry has no idea how to fix this mess, admitted one analyst. There is no consensus among stakeholders as to when it may begin to decline. It's the Titanic comparison. The executives are steering the ship directly into the iceberg of customer rebellion, and the result will be catastrophic. Some customers will leave and seek pastures anew, but most will simply pirate. In the end, customers will always win. It's a numbers game. You can lobby governments, you can send threatening emails, you can bombard people with ads. But in the end, people will always find a way to get what they want, and they won't pay for it. And that's why piracy is booming. So, what should you do? Well, we can't tell you that, but we can show you this. Video from 2014 showing how Netflix could be killed by their own greed. Check it out here.